I remember the movie Lady and the Tramp. And, one of the cool things about being homeschooled is a lot of what you witness in life, your parents kind of can control. And then there's some bad aspects to that, but, in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, it was, we're all human, let's all get along, let's not see each other for our flaws and differences, but see what we have in common and how much we love each other. And now that people that aren't God-fearing, people who don't seek God or worship God are in control, we see just what happens when we leave reality to an anything goes sort of society. But anyways, this was really big for me, because if you've ever seen the original Lady and the Tramp, it is phenomenal. And if you haven't seen it as an adult, you need to go back and watch, because it is like 18 times better than you thought. So, hang on, I need to make a note for myself. Where is it? Before I forget, I apologize for keeping you guys, but I just had an idea that might make me some money. Okay. I had an idea to make trailers for all the movies that I like a trailer like why I like it and why you should watch it. Anyways, I really liked Lady. I really liked the voice actress, her mannerisms, her grace, her humility. But she was very strong. Like, she had a good sense of morality. And then Tramp, he was kind of a player, a little bit of a punk, but he understood like the doggy live and let live style, and he falls for Lady. And that happens a lot. The humble, good-hearted Christian who motivates her and the people around her towards a better future. Because the Christian will say no to cocaine. It'll say no to your desire to be a stripper. The Christian will say, no, we're not going to go get drunk. We're going to study. And so just by being near them, you start doing better things. And obviously there's Christians that go too far and they're a bit of a headache, but those largely exists on kind of the fringes. You run into them a lot just like in reality, but when you're in a church, the biggest pool, like 85% of people, are very kind-hearted and gentle. And if you've never been to a church and talked to people, you wouldn't know that. And so your expectation of reality is based on your ability to kind of deduce how reality is going to go based on those you've interacted with. Think about watching the movie Fast and the Furious. There's all these people with all these cars doing all these awesome things, but you're not just going to come across that randomly. You want to go to a racing event. There's a difference between knowing that someone plays baseball and going to a baseball game. Well, church is the same way. Anyway, so Tramp knows how to get like free food from all these different places. It's really tasty. He knows how to live life. And, Lady's kind of in a cage. And so he takes her for a night out on the town, shows her all these wonderful places. She meets all these wonderful people. And she has a charming, good time. They share a kiss and she has a bashful moment. And so it comes to the end of the night and he's like, all this could be ours. All this could be ours. And she goes, yeah. And he goes, but... And she goes, but who will take care of the baby? And he stops and he goes, you're right. Because it's part of her family, but more importantly, she's man's best friend. She's the guard dog. She feels her responsibility to her family and to this precious young life form that she is a part of, and that's bigger than just frivolously floozing around town. And that's not to say to not have great days. The Bible says, remember the Sabbath, to force us to rest and relax and be godly in that way. God saw that everything was complete, everything was running, everything was divine, everything was in its working order, and then he took a day to rest. And you know what? Let's go look at what that word means. So the original term means to cease. So it's not about resting, even though that's what it's about. The command is, and on the seventh day, stop. Because God stopped. He saw that everything was in its working order and stopped. But yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about that, though. But I liked Lady. I liked the way she handled problems. I've told this story before, but I had a girlfriend like that in high school. And she was very interesting. She was a very humble Christian. I liked her because she was very smart. She was pretty, and she was very smart. She was taking calculus at 16. I was like, wow, as a junior. It's like, wow. And so she could keep up with us intellectually. We were nerds in a time when it wasn't popular to be nerds, and we were very smart. I went to a very good high school. And one day, we're hanging out at lunch and we're cussing a lot, and she just says, I don't like the cussing. And all of us, there's I think 10 or 12 of us, we all stop and go, what? Who the, what the F? Who the F are you? Who do you even think you are? You can't just say that and expect us to stop cussing. It's not like you're some lady. And then we all stopped. And we were like, no, I guess I will say her name. Sarah is a lady. She never cusses. She's always nice to us, even when we're pig-headed and jerks. Even when we're rowdy and rambunctious, she's sweet. Huh. Okay. I guess we're not cussing anymore. Because Sarah's a lady. She doesn't cuss. She's always nice. She's forgiving. Okay. And then, so our other friends would come by and they'd start to cuss, and I'd say, hang on, we don't cuss in front of Sarah. And he'd say, F that, F this. I'm like, no. Sarah's a lady. She's not a lady. F this, F that. She's not a lady. I'm like, no. Sarah's a lady. And he'd stop and okay. I guess so. And it just became a thing. No, wait, guys. Sarah's here. Can't cuss. And she wouldn't even say anything. She'd just sit there. Yeah. Okay. Sarah's a lady. And so just my group of friends and our surrounding group of friends that would come by, Sarah was a lady. So we did that for Sarah. And it was awesome. Anyway, I just wanted to share that story. A lot of things going on. A lot of fights with witch groups that are being sent after me. A lot of fights with satanic groups that are sent after me. So I've been praying a lot. And it's helping, but I'm also getting trained, so it's not helping as much as I want. A couple more weeks, and I will have some really good info on what is going on with my life. All right, love you guys.